saw Dvořák New World Symphony there. Yes, Dvořák, there is actually Smetana's hall. Smetana, it's another composer, and you go inside. There is a big concert hall. Behind me is this restaurant we were peeking in, and this way is a cafe, which is also beautifully decorated. So let's just sneak peek inside at the decoration. So, good place to go and have some coffee or cake or something like this. This way, then, is this restaurant the other side. So I've told you that was the year 1383 when Wenceslas IV moved to live. Yes, Leah, I'm happy that you've been here. That Wenceslas IV built his royal palace in this place. And I'm going to show you a couple pictures. So there was a court, King's Court. I'm sending 2 pictures to the chat so you can have an idea how the place looked like. There was Royal's Court. Behind it was a big background for servants, also gardens, and all these buildings. And just next to it, to the Royal Court, in the 15th century, they built this beautiful tower. It's called Powder Gate, and it was the entrance to the Old Town. It, of course, still is the entrance to the Old Town, but it was the most beautiful one. And the reason for it was that it was just at the entrance to the city next to the Royal Court, which you see on pictures. Today, it's this. Instead of the Royal Court, is this one. Why? Because kings lived here only 101 years. There were 6 kings during the time who were staying in this Royal Court, and then Vladislav decided it's too dangerous to live here in a city center, because what can happen, some riots are on the street, so it's much safer if I will move to live in castle. And then this area where the royal court was started to deteriorate. Then it became barracks. Some church was built, as you can see on a picture in the chat. But all this was taken down in 1903, and finally this beautiful municipal house was built here. But I will post here some more pictures how the tower looked like before this house was built. So I am sending 2 pictures. On one of them is the tower before reconstruction. So you see it looked completely different shape, and then it was reconstructed. So you see another picture, and on a side is these old barracks, not the municipal house yet. And the royal palace started to deteriorate, and actually they even stopped working on the tower. So it remained long time unfinished till the second half of 19th century, when it got this shape with this tower. That's the second picture with the special top. The original architect was Matyáš Rejsek, and I really like that we can see his face, not really his face, but his statue. The face is too small at the moment, is just up there. And he's kind of looking at his work. And then at the end of 19th century, the new architect decorated it beautifully. And we can see 2 kings on the other side, another 2 kings, and they are symbolizing the dynasties that ruled here: Přemysliv, Luxembourg, Jagiellonian, and one of them is non-dynastical king who was Jiří from Poděbrady. I'm going to show you his face because it's kind of worth seeing. Jiří from Poděbrady was Hussite king, non-dynastical. He was the only one from the family. He died when he was 50. That's his face. And this big plaque here, it says he tried to do something like European Union already in 15th century. He sent people all around Europe to join all Christian countries around the place to follow the similar law, not the same law, but to cooperate. not to make war. You know who stopped the process in 15th century? Pope. Pope didn't want the rulers, the secular power, be independent from him. So he stopped this process, which was started here in Prague. So let's say the first beginnings of European Union were happening just here. For all of you who don't know me yet, I'm posting now my name and the company I work for. So it's Prague City Adventures. My name is Katerina, and you can see there Prague by Katie is my name on Facebook. You can follow me. I put there some pictures from tour from Prague, sometimes YouTube, which I talk about, and so on. Oh, thanks, Claudia. Thanks a lot. So feel free to follow me there. And this is from the back, the municipal house. We have seen it. We have been inside a moment ago. And by the way, my first office ever when I started to work a long time ago was this window. My second office, I was sitting behind this window. I chose the place because I always loved Prague. And you see, finally, I ended up doing the tours and not sitting in the office anymore. Let's look a little bit back to the tower from the other side. So it's called Powder Gate. And on the other side, we have two more kings and the tower. You can go up there. Almost every tower in Prague, you can actually walk up and have a view. But honestly, I don't think that the view from this particular one is the best. But some guys will tell you that they like it most. So it really depends. Anyone has a different feeling. So the royal court was really big. And for this king, this Jiří Spoděbrat, you have seen his face. When he was a king, the palace behind us was already as big as the castle. However, still not big enough. So his wife, the queen, and the children, they moved in a separated palace, and we are slowly coming to this second palace that's in front of us. And we just entered as we went under the tower, so-called Royal Road. That's where the kings, when they were coronated to be kings, they entered the old town exactly here. And on the left hand, it's already this former palace where the queens were residing. This one. Then it became a mint house, and now it actually is a court, like where the judges are having their cases. That's Seletná Street is just this way. We will not walk it. We will just peek inside. And we have another story connected to this. In 1848, we were part of Habsburgian Empire. Our king was, an emperor was in Vienna. Our language was for already 200 years forbidden. Was not at school Czech language, nowhere, just the for the peasants and so on. So what happened? We had a big riot. The Czech national uprising started in Prague, 1848, and there was a one man. His name was Windischkret, and I am putting his face in a moment. Just give me a second. Yes, that's him and his face. And he lived in the former queen's house with his family. They came here. His wife, she was 52 years old. She was quite a lovely woman. She didn't like politics much. She was not involved. She was doing charity. However, when the riot started, she peeked out of the window. She wanted to see what's going on the streets. She got shot with a bullet. She died instantly. Her husband, I'm posting her face. Her husband was absolutely desperate. He was like, actually, it was supposed to be me who is going to be killed, not you. But she was killed. The murderer was not found. One of the legends says, you see, there is a originally hotel, Golden Angel, and one of the legend is that there was some assassinator behind the window who wanted to kill him. So they nicknamed the angel like a shooting angel. However, they never found the the killer and the murderer, because they were not able to find who will make it. They found one student with the gun. They put him in the jail, and they were thinking that was him. However, it was the first time when they asked the expert to check on the gun if it is possible that the bullet which shot the girl was coming out of this gun. And the expert told no, it was not. So that was not the right person. Okay, so no murderer was found. And what Windischkret finally did, he asked for the bullet from the head of his wife and make a little silver cage to which he put the bullet as a memory. I don't know if it's a good memory, but yeah, okay, he did it. And meanwhile, we arrived. This is like one of the most touristic streets in Prague. It's called Celetna. It goes to the old town square. Yeah, hi to Michigan. And we are looking at unique architectonic style, which is Czech Cubism. Cubism, it's only in our country. This is the first cubistic house, and it was made by Mr. Gochar. Yeah, sorry, there is a car. It's a walking zone. Still, they are having the cars around. So, Mr. Gochar, I was hoping I have his name, but not. Anyway, he did this building, and you see how beautiful it is. I will take you a little bit inside. Thank you, Karel. And you see, at the first floor, there is Grand Café Orient, which is one of the seven most beautiful cafes in the whole Europe. So let's peek inside. Let's hope the signal, yeah, signal is perfect actually. So let's see. And you will see what cubism looks like a little bit from here. Just taking care, yes. And these are the stairs in this cubistic house. I don't know if you like it. I love it. Up there you can find also the exhibition of Czech Cubism. Oh, I'm happy that you like it. And there is the shop with for the museum and another shop of Czech Cubism. So you can see cubistic chair. I like this one, by the way. And the cubistic wallpapers, cubistic bookshelves, cubistic mirror. So all of it is Czech Cubism. That's my favorite style. And in Prague, you have already seen this golden angel a moment ago. That's what we call house signs. They are giving names to the houses. Before they were numbers, they were the house signs. But I want to show you another famous house sign, and that's exactly this house. That's exactly this cubistic house. It was built 1911, 1913 as a shopping mall. However, here was originally another building, and on this one was the Black Madonna. The house is called the Black Madonna's house. You can read it here, Černá Madonna, which means Black Madonna, and the statue is up there. Black Madonna, it's quite symbolic figure. Why? It's kind of historically symbolizing the Mother Earth. Before Christianity, even in Egypt, they were having Isis or Esat, the goddess, Mother Earth, the symbol of purity, bravery, but also fidelity, love. And that was her. The first mass, like first really something coming out of the place. So that was here. And they say that these Madonnas, we have now 12 in our country, are at the places where some magic is. And they told some tunnels, and that actually is true because under us it's a big tunnel going on. And I just make it through to the little street next from the main one. And according to the legend, here was the seat of Templars in Prague. Just here was a church and a place they were having the building. You know, Templars. Yeah, you can see actually the restaurant name. It's called by the Templars. In Czech language, Templar is a Templar. So that was here. And when this order was closed, cancelled, the king didn't want it because the order became too powerful and the king was scared for being like overwhelmed by these Templars. So he decided to close the order, and some of them were killed, some of them went hiding. Quite a lot, I think they went to Scotland. So what happened here? They burned the church completely, burned to the ground, except the statue of Black Madonna remain standing untouched on this place. And that's the copy of the copy of this statue is on the building we have seen. So that's Black Madonna and Templars. I quite like this a little bit hidden streets with nice little shops. Usually you don't go through here because usually you go the main street. Knight Templars, exactly. They were Templars were the knights who went to Jerusalem, and next to the temple they started the order, which is interesting. It was also started with the help of Saint Bernard. Saint Bernard, who helped them to write the first rule of the order. And then they came back and became rich and influential. And the building in front of us, it's my most favorite church in Prague. It's St. James Basilica. It's part of the monastery, and it has a lot of legends, but we are mostly talking about the legends about this church on our ghostly tour. So I'm not going to spoil it for you. Join us for Ghostly and you will hear it. But one private. When I was working at the office there, here was a huge plane tree coming as high as here. I always loved walking by. I was like, wow, this is wonderful to have the tree. You know, there's not many trees in the city center. And once there was so big wind, extremely strong wind, and for some reason you would say that it's protected by the walls around it. It was not. The tree went in a half. It fell down and actually it broke the car, a pretty expensive car which was standing under it. So the tree, even the remaining parts are gone. And this is a little bit party area, so you can see some people already partying, being at the cafes inside, and so on. Did you say St. James Church? Yes. I don't know if I have already told the name, but yes, it is a St. James Church, Jill. So I quite like peeking inside. So you have the restaurant, people sitting, enjoying the times. I like the decorations, how they are on the walls. So it's there. And in front of us, I will come back to the church. However, in front of us, it's the Ungeld. That's the oldest marketplace in Prague. Today, I am not going through almost every tour I go through because I just love the place. Today, I'm going to go a little bit around. So for you, I'm peeking inside of Ungeld. Old marketplace. Already, we are talking 8, 9 centuries. Yeah, people were behind the walls. You see, I'm going under the passage through the tunnel. So from here, the city started. The merchants were coming here for centuries. Now there are hotels, some offices, and so on. But today I'm not going through this complex. I am going around, which we usually don't do. And what it is, it's actually a former moat. The whole place was protected with the ditch. There was a ditch with water, but only till 12th century. So since 12th century, there are another houses and so on. So this is this beautiful church we have talked about, St. James Church, originally from 1370s. That's the place when our king, John of Luxembourg, the first one from Luxembourg dynasty, was crowned. The celebration of the coronation happened here. And I have some pictures from the interior. There are beautiful organs from 1705. And just give me a moment. Yeah, and yes, that I'm posting. So a little bit different pictures that I post usually. So here you see a convent because it's part of a monastery, and the doors here are leading exactly to this. If it's open, that's what we see is the columns you are finding in a picture. If these doors are open. And in this church also, it was a burial place, or not burial, but funeral place. When the king died, his body was on display here. So, for example, even the most famous king and emperor we have, Charles IV, when he died, 1378, his body was on display here. And you know what I love in Prague is actually how it's living city, and you can see the traces of old buildings everywhere. So look here, that's a Gothic arch from 14th century being part of this Renaissance building, now newly decorated. And this is kind of fun that you walk the city and you traced all these traces. So the monastery, which is now on our right hand, it's not a monastery anymore. As a proof organizer, I would love to see that one. Incredible, yes. Sometimes, Carrie, what happens? I walk by and someone is practicing, is training on organs. And it's really good to that's the best time you can be there because you just have a concert free actually. So this is the main hall, the refectory of the monastery. Now it's like a meeting hall because that's offices. Half of the building of the monastery, yes, was sold to school. So this is a school for some kind of electrotechnical high school. And just the second half is now offices and former monasteries. And again, even here, you can see a little bit archway from the Gothic era, from the Gothic time. And as we have entered this place, so the streets names around here are Fish Street, Meat Street, because there was a meat market. I'm posting you a picture from the meat market right now. So that's the meat market. And I just noticed that I wanted to show you one more picture already with the Black Madonna. So I hope you don't mind that we are already in another place. And I am posting the picture of the oldest famous Black Madonna from Chartres. So you can look at her face. So that's a Chartres Black Madonna. And just as we were talking about them. So I am wandering now around this little street, which usually people miss, but I quite like it. There is some nice house signs again, like 3 carbs on my left hand. It's a bit darker. Could you please spell the name of the large marketplace? Ungeld, Ungelt. Ungelt. Yes, Ivana, thank you. Yes, that's it. I was just thinking about it. No, Strahov Library is pretty far from here. It's on the completely other side of the city. Yeah. So 3 carbs, another beautiful house signs. Ungeljina, thank you. Yes, exactly. That's actually I will show you. That's actually the German name, but we use it. But we also use the Czech name, which is Tyn, Tyn. Tyn, and the name of the street we are walking, it's Teen Street, which is here. So you can choose both. You can see the area is Teen, Tyn, this name is Teen Street, or you can do Ungeld. And both means the same, both is the same place. There is no difference. That's just one is like Czech and the second one is coming from the German language. So Teen Street. And this is interesting building. Here on the left hand, it's the Freemason building. Freemasons, they came here in 1919. Yeah, we became independent Czechoslovakia in 1918. And then finally in 1919, the first Freemason community was started here. Some of Czech people were already members of this lodges, or how it's called, Does the word have any meaning? I will explain you. So you see the loge of the Czech Republic. So I will now go on with this. Teen, that's the place which is behind the walls and which is a marketplace. So Teen is like a market behind the walls. So that's the explanation of Teen or Ungeld word. By the way, there is a beautiful bar and books bar, quite popular. Yeah, Teen is the same as Ungeld. Yes, one is German, one is Czech. So let's go back to this Freemason. They were came like started the lodge here in 1919. They were politicians. Why it was so popular here? Because, and that's kind of interesting, because they were like they asked their members to be believers. They were supposed to believe in some great architect of the space. Yeah, and but the confession was not important if you were Catholic or Protestant or Jewish. It doesn't really matter. You just have to believe in one big architect, one God. But which God it is doesn't matter. So the confession this was quite important for Czech people. We are really secular, so it was important that even this was allowed. That the Mason, why they chose it? Because it supported humanity and intellectual growth in people. So that's why it was so popular here as well. There used to be, before the war, the Second World War, 800 Freemasons. However, then in a communistic regime, 1951, they closed them. Almost all of them emigrated, left the country. And when we became free again, then in 1991, 21 only out of these 800 people were remaining. They got met here and they started the Freemasonry Lodge here again. You can guess, I am now giving you a guess. One important person, one important man. If you have joined me on some other tour, you have already heard his name almost on every tour. I haven't talked about him in a municipal house where we have started, but we have seen his name everywhere there. He painted the salons there. I will post 2 pictures. Who will know his name? He was one of the first members of the Freemasonry. Yeah, Claudia, you are quicker than the pictures are. So you let other people guess, but you are correct, of course. So just Mucha, yes, Joanne. Alphonse Mucha, yeah, he was one of the most famous Freemasons. Yeah, this is a little bit pity. I can't show you much better, but this is the only wooden roof in Prague. We have in Prague one wooden building. It's at the New World, which is another tour completely behind the castle. I plan to do it somewhere in February, this one. It's beautiful, this wooden house there. But here, yes, I do as well some. This is the only wooden roof in Prague. You see, it's kind of even the shape of the building is interesting, because all this is built on the former mode that was the ditch, and they built on the ditch. They built these buildings. So this building has like extreme exception for security reason for firemen. It has really big exception because the wooden roof is not possible to have it. You can even see some beautiful wooden ceiling. One wooden building. In Prague, really like 100% wooden. You know, this is mostly stone or sandstone or new materials with the new buildings, but the old one is here. And this is my favorite cafe here on the right hand. Is it light here? Yeah, not much visible, unfortunately, but it's quite nice. However, let's make this quite beautiful photo of this hidden street of Prague with the gas lights. These gas lights were introduced in Old Prague back in 2002. There, originally Prague was gas lights, but then it changed. Then it was electrified, and then since 2002 again with gas light. And you see another house sign, Pretzel. Let's see if we can peek inside. This is the the cafe which I like. It's called Cafe Cathedral, and I want you to see it. So let's just peek inside. Hope no one is asking much. It's not the best signal here, but I hope you enjoy it. And imagine this garden. There is an old well here, and half of it is here, and half of it is on the other side in a courtyard of another building. And I really, really like this, how it looks. So let's go out, and I already noticed there is really poor signal when we walk through. So stay with me, and let's go. Yeah. So I like in Prague that you can go through these little courtyards, and yes, we are coming better. These are bric-a-brac shops, like old antique shops, and I quite like them. So it's a lovely area. And we just arrived to the other side of the Steen Ungeld courtyard. Who have been to Prague, you already know the other entrance to this courtyard is this gate through here. So for a moment, we have been inside. So that was the original ditch going around that building, which is called the Golden Ring House, was already built on the ditches. You can see a little bit the golden ring. Yeah, that's there. And the palace we are standing to, it's connected to another famous person of our history, not only Prague, but our history. His name is Václav Budovec z Budova. You can see his statue here. I will post for you his name and his face. So that's him. This palace belonged to him. And we had in history, I've already told you that we have a couple of 200 years without Czech language. And the reason is that our history is connected with the fight between Catholics and Protestants. We started Reformation here already at the end of 14th century. And I'm now taking you inside, and then we will go back to the old town square. So just look around at the Ungeld or Teen area. We have been on the other side a moment ago. But this is my favorite place. So what was this man? So we were mostly Protestant country. Most of our nobles were Protestant. However, when our king died, our nobles elected a Catholic king, Habsburgs. And with them, the trouble started. It never works when you have Protestant country and a Catholic emperor or Catholic king. So it's a bit trouble. So what happened in 1618? Our nobles went up the castle, which was royal office then, and they throw Catholic officers out of the window. We call it Prague defenestration. And that started the 30 Years' War in Europe. And Budovec, this man, you see his face, was one of these men, was there when they were throwing Catholic officers out of the window. He was not really very active. However, his position was very high. Who was this man? He was from rich noble family, Protestant family. He was extremely educated. He spoke about 10 languages. 12 years he spent studying in Protestant schools around Europe, in France, the Netherlands, United Kingdom. He then was sent with a mission to Turkey. So he was speaking Turkish, Arabic language, and he became the advisor of the emperor. He was responsible also for coronation jewels of our country. So he was quite high position, however Protestant. The king and emperor then, who was Rudolf II, was cooperating with him. And thanks to Budovec, he even signed some treaties that the confession is not important that you can be Catholic, you can be Protestant, and doesn't influence your life. However, when this emperor died, all the trouble started because the new emperor, younger brother of Rudolf II, came and was really supporting only Protestants, and that's why only Catholics, and that's why the Protestants went up the castle, threw Catholic officers of the window, 1618, and started the 30 Years' War in Europe. We lost. This battle was lost already 1620. Our army was almost sent to death in a White Mountain, which is not far from Prague Castle. And our nobles then were taken. Almost all the Protestant nobles had to run away from the country. They had to hide themselves. Their properties were confiscated. Extremely difficult. They had one chance. They could convert to Catholicism, but they usually didn't. And Budova, this man, he left the country with his family to take them to safety. So he took them to the Netherlands. However, I hope, Rachel, that the sound is okay for others. Just let me know that the yeah, Dawn, it's okay, fine here. Then yes, that's perfect. Thank you for letting me know that it's not on my side. I am already at the Old Town Square, just showing you the beautiful archway under this building. So Budovec left his family in a safety in the Netherlands, but came back. He was responsible for the coronation jewels. He was responsible in his office, and he was taken. And then he and 26 other men were all executed here. He was the second one going to the execution. Yeah, I think I have a picture. Yes, I have a picture for you. The execution happened exactly at that place. So what you are looking at is a wooden construction here, and 27 noblemen, the leaders of this revolution, were all executed there. Some of them were beheaded. 3 of them were actually hanged. But it was not only beheading. For example, Budovec, he was the second one to go, and first, what they did, they cut his hand, because you do the promises, you like swear like this with this. He did this, that he's going to support the emperor, and because like that was seen like that he didn't fulfill what he promised, then his hand was cut at first and then his head. So not really lucky situation for him. And we already arrived to the Old Town Square, and we are looking to the man, to the monument, to the man who is responsible for our Protestantism. His name is Jan Hus. He was the Dean of Charles University, which is the oldest university in Middle Europe. And thank you, Karel, thank you, Yvonne. And he started Reformation here. He rejected the behavior of Catholic priests, like selling indulgences and so on. And that's why he started Reformation. And that it ended up for us at the end of 30 Years' War, which we have lost already, 1620. Our noblemen were executed. We will see the place in a moment. I'm just now showing you a little bit around. And before coming to this column was then erected as a victory in a 30 Years' War, 1648. You see Mother Mary. So that's a Catholic column. And it was also seen as a symbol of Habsburgs. So in 1918, when we finally became independent from Habsburgs, we took this column down. So see the picture, we see the column. And look here on a photo in the chat, you see the column lying down, just like there. What happened? We took it down, but you see it's back. So we put it back in 2020. It's here only 2.5 years. It's back. Because we say, okay, Catholics have their column, but as there was a strong recatholicization, that church, which is, we call it the church also Tien and Ungeld, which is nicknamed because the full name is Our Mother Mary, Our Lady, in front of the Tien Ungeld, which is behind. So we call it either Ungeld or Tien. So you see, there is a chalice. Where did they keep the column? It was all broken. There was just, I will show you before I go on. So you see there is a chalice, which is a symbol of Protestant. So Protestant put the chalice to this church, and Catholics were allowed to build this column back. The column was all broken. You saw it on a picture. The statue of Mother Mary, it existed, and it was on display actually there on that street, like behind the corner behind the church, there somewhere this way, there was a column on which this statue was standing for ages. And then imagine that in 1990, there happened a lot of reconstruction. We became free from communists. The city completely changed to be beautiful, colorful, from the gray falling down. People started to take care of it. The money came here. So finally, we were able to kind of take care more about the city. So at the same moment, they put like a symbol on the ground, just a little sign. There used to be the cross. And also they put another sign on the ground, which is here, and it's called Prague Meridian. Yeah, it's called Prague Meridian. You can look at it. And why is here? What does it mean? That's a meridian going through Prague. That's, of course, the correct explanation. However, it also serves as a sundial. Look here. I'm going vertical for a moment, hopefully. Yes, this one. So you see, this way is direct south. So when the shade of the column goes down here, it goes exactly on this line, follows this line. So that's the Prague meridian of Prague. That's how they measured the noon in Prague. One of the ways. There's more ways. Let's go back. Yeah. And we are back horizontal. So that's the story of the Madame column, and that's interesting because when they are like they started to do when they have a services here in a Ungeld church, they finish always the services here at the column. So they get out after the service and they do prayers at the column here. And this is just a beautiful book of architecture. We have all the architectonic styles. Just in this picture, what do we see? We see Renaissance with the gables. We see Baroque building. We see Gothic church and Gothic palace on the left hand. By the way, we believe that our greatest king and Roman Emperor Charles IV was built here, born here in 1316, because castle where he usually stayed was after the fire. And the name of the building, you can guess what it is. I'm going closer for you. Who sees what it is? Let me know. And that's the name of the house. So what it is? What do you think? What do you see? Bell. Uh-huh. Yes. Claudia, Cynthia. Yes. And it's called the Stone Bell House. According to the legend, when the parents of Charles IV were about to get married, the mother was from Přemysl dynasty, who died, all men, and the father was from Luxembourg dynasty, the first one from this new one. It was not like not that easy always. Like, let's get married. He had to fight for her. So he made an agreement with the citizens of the old town that they will let the young boy, he was 16, know they will open the doors of the city for him so he can enter the city, come here, and get Elizabeth as his wife. So the burghers of the city opened him the doors, and as a sign for him was ringing the bell behind me at the Ungeld church. So They opened the doors for him. John of Luxembourg entered, get the princess for him, and that's how then he became the first one of Luxembourg dynasty. And they took this, like, not really but symbolically, they took the bell from the church and make like a stone bell here at the building. Dali Museum, there is, I have never been inside honestly, because what I have heard, it's just really small thing, yeah, that's not really big, some only some like not paintings but drawings, so I'm not sure how it looks inside, and I can't tell you. And let's look at this building. Uh, let's look at this building, which is Kinsky Palace. You know, I'm telling you a little bit different stories, because mostly we are telling the stories which are in all the guidebooks. The stories I'm telling you now are a little bit different from what you are used to. So I hope you enjoy. And that's Kinsky Palace. We don't see well the color, but it's actually pink. And there lived one lady. Her name was Berta Satner Kinsky. I am just now, let me find her name. Here we are, posting her face and her name. Just, you know what, give me thumbs up if you have ever heard about her. I would like to know if anyone have ever heard about her, because I didn't, uh, till I was doing the tours, you know. Then I mostly by coincidence discovered this lady, and I really didn't know how important she was. You see, she lived. Thanks a lot, Marty, for your support. It's highly appreciated. So you see uh, how we forgot easily why she was important, because this is now National Gallery. I'm going to show you her face here, because she was, and read it with me, the first woman who got Nobel Prize. Oh, thanks, Terry and Kai. Great. You see, she was born in Prague, growing up here in this palace, and she was the first lady who got Nobel Prize. And by coincidence, the Nobel Prize was a Nobel Prize for peace. She started a peace movement. She wrote even a book about peace, like the name of the book was like 1896, Put the Arms Down. Yeah. And she was a friend of Alfred Nobel, and thanks to her also the Nobel Prize was started. She kind of gave him the idea of supporting not only the peace but all what people can, like the smart people can discover. So also starting the Nobel Prize was thanks to her. And we so easily forgot her name. Interesting, because when you look at the old message, all the journals, you can read like the book of Berta Satner-Kinsky is a must read. It's almost like a Bible. Yeah, and no one knows her name now. Or I didn't, and now I do, and you do as well. And I hope you will remember her, because I think her message today is even more important than it was before as well, of course, but now it's even more actual today. So I am now taking you to the place where the beheading happened, but before, I want you to look at this building. It's a part of town hall. You can see there are some remaining parts of the buildings, the window, because there was a building of town hall. I am posting a picture for you. I have it here. And then in May days 1945, it was a seat of Czech uprising against Nazis. So Nazis bombed the place, and this building was taken down. I am going to show you a picture how it looked after the war. So you see the building is in a bad shape. Even the tower is in a bad shape. However, at least we have the tower. But the building, they decided not to rebuild it. It doesn't worth it. So let's take it down. It was archived, so a lot of Prague information materials from archive are gone. However, a lot of things we have. So it's gone. I quite like the park. Now it's behind me. I'm just showing you around because I think it's a beautiful look around. But there used to be Christmas markets a moment ago. Now it's almost empty. So let's just look around. And I will post time to time. They are still planning to build another building here, which is now the park. So the park is the trees here behind the stalls with some street food. And I will show you three pictures. The first one, it's the plan of Josef Gochard. That's the one who built the first cubistic house. So he planned to build here this house, even higher than the astronomical, no, not the astronomical, but the Old Town Tower on the left hand. You like it? Honestly, I don't. I love Gochard. I love his buildings we have seen before, but this one is probably too much, too high, doesn't fit the place. Then something like this one, that's even worse actually, 1985. Imagine having here this awful glass, that's glass, kind of bridge going up to the castle. I believe this is really spoiling the whole Prague. So I am not the fan of this one. And sometimes the students of our architecture school, they are doing like training in this place, and that's one of the works. That actually the big glass bridge was Milan Knížák, who became then the head of gallery. So it's kind of funny, but okay. And this is just one modern, extremely modern, almost like sci-fi thing. No, no, no. It's the same, Beverly. I see it the same. I love the park. It's already a little bit darker now. In Christmas time, all the trees are covered with light, so it's much better. However, even now, it's nice, and especially in summer, you can hide here from the sun, and that's just perfect. And you can have some street food, as I told you. However, when you come to Prague, I would more recommend you going for some food to the restaurant. This is not bad. This is more for fun to look at, but I am not really much fun of what they are having here. However, it's kind of nice to see it how it's made. So, and here we arrived. That's the place where the beheading happened. So far it happened 1621 and 21st June. So we have the date here, and we have the 27 crosses on the ground, because 27 noblemen, or of them being killed at this place. We have already seen the picture. One of them, Václav Budovec z Budova. And let's look here. This is the list of them. So I will mention another guy, which is my favorite. So they are the names. No, shouldn't be mixed architecture. Yes, I have the same feeling, Gina. So who is the first one, who was going the first, was actually Jan Jesenius. Jan Jesenius was the dean of Charles University. He was a man who did the first public autopsy. And you can think about it. He was a doctor. He was examining dead bodies. Where do you think he got them? Think about it. Think about, or write me down, if you're a doctor, where you get the bodies. And I mean, I'm talking about 16th century. So it's not that easy. Like now when someone dies, he can give his body. Yeah, Leah, sorry, you have to go. No, no, not really grave digging and cemetery. Good guess. It's what I know. It's I think something like this happened a little bit in Edinburgh. I hope I'm not wrong. But prisons, yes, Yvonne. It's not really like prisons, but with the executor. Yeah, with the executor. So this Jan Jesenius became a friend with executor, who was giving him the bodies for public autopsies, or not only public, but for autopsies. And then the same man, the same executor, cut him and cut his hands, legs, and finally the head. So that's really something you don't want your friend to do to you, definitely. So I'm just arriving in front of the astronomical clock because I want to be here. Uh-huh. So I want to be here at the full hour because I want to be here for the show. Before we have, I see like 1 minute. So before I'm inviting you for next, I think it's next week when I am having the tour. It's a bit earlier because I want a light. I want kind of a sunset when we are up at the tower. That's the tour next week. And we will be seeing all the staterooms inside. So let's just peek at the mosaic. We will talk about it in the next week on the second tour, which is like Old Town Hall. So join me there. Just this is kind of like a sneak peek inside. And let's go look at the show. You see, the show is really, Leah, that's good. A good chance, I think, to stay. It's evening. The season went down. There is almost no tourist in Prague. And you see, this place is busy even then. Even if there is no tourist, what is the day? Tuesday. If we have tourists, it's weekend. And it's Tuesday, it's evening, no season, and still very busy. Because the show is going on here. What's going to happen? So we see the most photographed object in the whole Prague, astronomical clock, the calendar, astronomical clock showing the time, the hand showing the time is here. The statues of vanity man, greedy man, skeleton, lust man, symbols of bad habits. They are going to move during the show. The show starts with the skeleton, two blue doors open, wooden statues of apostles circling, and at the end of the show, which is the beginning of new hour, and the symbol of new beginning, who wakes up in the morning, who wakes up the sun, is a rooster. So at the end, the rooster sings. I will then come a little bit closer for you to see this area because that's where everything's happening. Uh-huh. It starts. Yeah, that was it. That's all. Now the bell is ringing the number of the hours, which is 19, I believe. And that's the whole tour. I hope you have enjoyed it. I will highly appreciate if you can leave me review 5 stars, please. If not, write me down why not, but not please do the review page. And of course, the tips are highly appreciated. I am happy that you have enjoyed it. I kind of have to thanks for Hillary. I kind of have to go home because I have another tour in 1 hour.